Mahala kalaba. Wait, did you just say that all languages came from the story of the Tower of Babel? Hey guys, how's it going? Thank you for joining us here on Espresso with Sky, where you will get a fresh perspective on life, faith, God, and the Bible. Now, if you haven't done so, go ahead and hit all those buttons, the subs, the likes, whatever it is. But the most important thing is to leave a comment below. We really want to know what you guys are thinking and leave some questions down there so it'll fuel our future content. If you want to support this ministry, go ahead. We have PayPal and buymeacoffee.com. Yes, you can. You can buy me just a cup of coffee. All right, so let's get into today's topic. So today's story goes all the way back to the beginning of the Bible, to Genesis chapter 11. Interesting story about the Tower of Babel. Now what happens here is this is after Noah's flood. All these people come to this one town and they decide to build this huge tower that will reach the heavens and make a name for themselves. And what happens? God sees them and says, oh no, you can't do that. Then he confuses all the languages and then everyone scatters all over the world. And this is how language came to be. So there are a lot of problems about this story that happened roughly 4,000 to 4,300 years ago. And if we think about this, we're not going to get into linguistics of how long does it take for a language to evolve, or is there evidence that there was one language in the past, or looking at all the written evidence and all the historical evidence and facts that we have about language itself. What we're going to do is we're going to look only at what the scripture says, and it's a little bit different than what we think. And if you really understand this, it makes you think twice about, is this what the Bible is really saying to us? Is God really saying all language happened at that point? So let's go into the scriptures right now, and we're going to take a look at the story of the Tower of Babel, which is in Genesis chapter 11. And the key verse we want to look at is verse 6, because here God says what the actual issue is. So what he says here is, if as one people, they speak one common language, then nothing that they plan to do will be impossible. So here's the thing. What is God saying? He's saying, what does it mean as one people? As one people meaning people that are unified, or the main subject we're dealing with here is unity, which makes sense. When people are unified, or when there's unity among a group of people, then they're able to do amazing things. But here's the interesting part. It says that if as one people that use the same common language. Now here's the thing. Is it because of the same spoken language that we're all able to become unified? Because if that's the case, don't you think that everyone in Malaysia who speaks Malay should be unified? Is Malaysia unified? Take a look at other, I'm only saying that because I'm in Malaysia right now. What if you go to Canada or America? If everyone speaks English, are they all unified? Everyone in China, they all speak Chinese. Are they unified? And the answer is, I don't even think so. Even at a small scale, if two people speak the same language, does that mean they never fight? Really? If people speak the same language, they're unified and they never fight? That doesn't make any sense. Language isn't the key factor to unity. So what does this mean? So in order for us to understand this story, I first want you guys all to understand the word language. What does this word mean in this story, in the context of this story? Because when we think about language, we're thinking the spoken language, Chinese, Japanese, Italian, French, English, whatever it is. But when you look at this story, it doesn't really make sense that if you speak the same language, then you are unified. There is unity, one people, that whatever you plan will always be successful. It's like, you're not thinking about like, hey, if we speak the same language and get married, we'll never fight, or we'll never get divorced. It doesn't really make sense. So what do you think it really means when God is talking about these people became one because of one language? Well, the first thing I want you to do is to understand is there's more than just one type of language, as in spoken language, okay? So if you think about it, there's spoken language, and what else is there? There's also body language, and body language also plays a huge role in communication. And this is why when you have text messages, why do people misunderstand? Why? Because we don't know what the face looks like, but you need body language like, hey, I hate you. And sometimes we say that to our friends, but we don't really mean we hate them. And when we say that and people see the smile, they know that, they're just joking. But on text messaging, it's crazy because people misunderstand unless you put a little emoji in the end like, ha, I hate you, right? Because at that point, you know your friend doesn't really hate you. So body language is the second thing, but do you really think it's about body language? That God's like, they all had one body language? So like, hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, let's build it. That'd be crazy if it was about body language. But there is a language that God speaks that we really have to understand that is all throughout Scripture. And what language is this? It is the language of the heart. And this is a thing that we have to understand more than anything else, that this is the biggest and greatest language that brings people together. Even if you speak a different language, but if your hearts are one, if you believe in the same things, you can get things done. Think about this, guys. In 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7, Samuel, the prophet, is trying to pick a new king, right? Because Saul wasn't that good. And what God says to him, he said, you know what? Don't look at the outer appearance. Why? The outer appearance is deceiving. You have to look at the one thing that matters, which is what? Which is the heart. And I'm telling you guys right now, the language in the Bible that matters most, the thing that God looks at the most is what? It is here. Think about Christians around the world. We're united not because we speak the same language as in this. We're united because we speak the same language. And because of that, nothing we do will be impossible. We are united as one. Let me give this last example to show you how people could scatter at the time of Babel. Let's just say you have a science project and you're building one of those volcanoes, right? And then 4 or 5 of you, let's just say 5 of you come together, or 4 of you, it doesn't matter, right? 4 or 5 of you come together, you're doing this project together, and what happens? What happens when you guys have the same heart and you just really want to do well? What happens is people concede, right? People yield to each other. So it's like, hey, what color do you want it? I want a brown, I want a pink, I want a white, I want a blue. And in the end, we're like, yeah, okay, you know what? It's a volcano. It doesn't really matter as long as we get this done. The most important part is the lava and we get a good grade. So everyone's just like, yeah, sure. And then they're all going to just work on it together. However, when do people scatter? People scatter when their hearts are not one, when the language of their hearts does not connect. Where one person says, hey, I want a pink volcano. And the other person says, what the heck? Who has a pink volcano? What a stupid color. And they're like, what? Oh, that hurt me so much. Dude, no one has a pink. Well, what color do you want? Well, I want a brown because most volcanoes are brown. And like, what? Oh, that's so boring. Come on, we have. And then people just start fighting and fighting. And if their hearts don't connect, what happens at the end? Fine. You want a pink one? Go and make your own pink volcano. Because I'm going to go here. Who's with me? Who wants a brown volcano? And then one person puts their hand up because they're good friends and they follow them over here. And then another person's like, well, I want pink. And the other person's like, well, I want blue. And what happens? Everyone, poof, they scatter. They don't scatter because of language. They scatter because of language. And this is when we see that, yeah, you know what? Where did language come from? That physical language, you know what? It doesn't really matter. Language is going to develop and evolve all over time, right? Over time, so much language is going to evolve. They even say that English will be so different 500 years from now. But the thing that matters the most more than anything else is, do we all have the same language of the heart? And this is what God was talking about in this story. All right, guys? Hopefully, guys, this is a new, fresh perspective on the Bible, this story, and life for you guys. And if it's something that you really like, go ahead and write that below in the comments. If you don't really like what I said, please just write in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys think, all right? Everyone have a wonderful, awesome day. We'll see you guys again next time. This is Pastor Sky with Chewy and John Wick. All right, guys? See you guys again. If you want to support us, go ahead, PayPal, and buymeacoffee.com. Laters.